It's said underneath Morrison's, established since 1899. That is 125 years old. Yeah. And look at what foothold Morrison's has in the UK now. Partnered with Amazon, massive company, employs thousands of people. Shops dotted around the entire country, perhaps overseas, I don't know. But they're doing very, very well. And they were established 125 years ago. The person who invented Morrison's, Mr. Morrison's or Mrs. Morrison's, whoever it may be, perhaps envisioned this. Perhaps they didn't. But Morrison's is now massive, right? Probably billion pound company. You, on the other hand, if you're watching this and you're a YouTuber, for example, have started your channel this year or last year or the year before last, and you expect to become successful, have tens of thousands of pounds coming every single month. That is the expectation of most people these days. But you have to remember, most businesses, and this is a business, take time. So the word today, kids, is patience. Be patient, just like I am being patient, sitting in this lay-by, waiting for my break to finish, because I can't move, because of truck driving laws. Same way, in your business, be patient. Whether you're a YouTuber, whether you're doing something else, or whether you're setting up your own business, it doesn't really matter. Don't expect results overnight just because that's what you see on social media. Don't expect to get the body you want because you see Mike Thurston working out and you're like, he's the same age as me. How come I don't look like him? This brother's been working out for 20 years. This is why. He's been eating right for 20 years. This is why. Patience is the word, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why you ain't getting anywhere with anything, maybe it's just too quick. Maybe you're shit at it. However, if you just stick at it for long enough, you will get better. You will get there in the end if you just persist. Even if you're the worst person at the world at the task you want to get better at, whether it's getting better at speaking to people, women, men, growing a business, marketing, physique, etc. It all takes time, it all takes patience. So that is the word of the day, ladies and gents. Patience. Remember, it's going to take time. Even though what you see on social media makes it think that everyone's an overnight success, whenever you interview people who have actually made it, they always look like an overnight success. How did you get this $1 billion company? Oh, well, 20 years ago, I quit my job. I lived with my brother in his basement for the first 3 years. The business barely broke even for the first 7 years. Then we started to get some traction. Then we found some referrals. Then one thing led to another. And now I've sold my business 20 years later for 250 million. But this is the headline that you see in the newspaper or the social media thing. You don't see the 20 years of graft, of putting in the work, etc. So if you think long term, that's a fantastic way to think about things. Just patience, consistently plugging away, rather than what you're looking for is like a seismic shift in your business, in your physique, in something just as like boom, like tectonic plates are shaking and you want the next Himalayan mountain range to be established. However, that happens every once in 100,000, 500,000 years, 500,000 years, right? But erosion happens every day. Rain hits a cliff every single day. And eventually, over time, that cliff is getting eroded. You may not see it, but one day what will happen is it'll create a weak point, a chink in the armor, and all of a sudden a massive fucking boulder rolls down the hill. It's massive, it's big in size. It's not an entire mountain's worth, but that could be the big break you're looking for. And in the interim, in the run up until that time, you've got the daily erosion to happen. That's making the calls every day. That's doing the exercise every day. That's chipping away at your goals. So that's eating right, and you're getting leaner and leaner and stronger. You're getting more and more subscribers for your business. You're more customers for your business, more chances to meet women, etc., or communicate in general, etc. It's getting better and better. That is a better way of thinking about it, rather than having this seismic shift that makes a massive dent in whatever you're doing, and then you think, oh, like everyone else seems to be getting these, opportunities, why aren't I landing them? It's because the social media just highlights the good stuff, not the reality, which is the graft over multiple years, perhaps decades. Actually, another little point I want to put on this is Jeff Bezos, I don't know if he put it in his letter to shareholders. He didn't write that book. The book is by Steve Anderson or something like that. But one of the principles Jeff Bezos mentions in his letter to shareholders is the idea of a 10,000 year clock. The second hand moves once a year, I believe. And then the minute hand moves every 10 years or something like that, or 100 years. It's something crazy, right? But this thing is designed in a way so it will operate for the next 10,000 years. So this clock, it also has a cuckoo, those little birds that come out of the clock and stuff. It has that, and I think that happens every century or millennium. I can't remember now. But the people who are creating it now, which I think Jeff Bezos and his team are doing, I think they spent 42 mil, if I remember correctly, if I remember the facts correctly. He spent 42 mil, or is spending 42 mil to make this thing happen inside a mountain in America somewhere. Imagine having, he's never going to see the cuckoo the first time, right? Because he'll be long dead by then. However, people probably in 1,000 years time, in 100 years time, will go and see that event happen, right? It'll pop out. Okay, cool. Go back in for another 100 years or 1,000 years. So he's building this thing that is going to outlast him, outlive him, and is going to act as a symbol of long-term thinking. So imagine you applied that same thinking to your business, to your life, to your physique, to your goals, wherever they may be. Instead of thinking in 3 to 5 years, or even 1 year, which a lot of people are probably thinking like that because of social media, think in decades. If you're 20 now, what can you achieve by 60? If you're 40 now, what can you achieve by 80, etc.? Just keep extrapolating it for whatever age you are. Think in multiple decades, not just a couple of decades, 3, 4, 5 decades from now. Because you're probably, if you're watching this, the average viewer on my channel at least is 25 to 35. So in 50 years, you're still gonna be 85 max on the top end of that 35 thing. So what can you achieve in 50 years? That's something to think about, right? In the next 3-4 years, maybe nothing, but you're developing and you're deepening your knowledge in a skill base that you're going to get better at over time. Even if you're horrendously shit right now at it, you will get better just by time under tension, time under doing the thing for long enough, learning the skills, etc. Imagine what you can accomplish in 50 years if you thought this way. Now that is a freeing way to think. Now that is liberating. Now you're like, okay, it doesn't actually matter if I don't get success right away, because look what I can achieve in the long term. Look at the type of impact I can leave on the earth. Of course, I'll get the financial things on the way if I adopt this type of thinking. If you try to do the thing that's for the quick buck, you may not get there ever, because you're going to be jumping around from ship to ship. So that little lesson that a wise man plants a seed of an oak tree to provide shade for the generations to come, not for him. That he will water it, he will help it grow, etc., but he won't ever get to benefit from that tree, but he's helping future generations. And if you think in that way, it's more chance you'll live a fulfilled, happier life, and more chance that things will actually work out because you're thinking in the right type of time frames for success to inevitably happen. Damn, that's a quote. Anyway, love you lots. Catch you next video.